What's going on, guys? Willie Stickley here. Today we're going to be talking about 5 different ways to help you find your next deep sky target. Alright, so for the first website, we are on Telescopius, and why I like it so much is that you can search up any familiar target that you know. So for example, I did M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. You can see where it is in opposition, and if it's rising or setting, and where it will be in elevation for its degrees. But what I like the most is this section down here, the telescope simulator. You can preview your framing on any of your targets before you even take a picture. So right now I have it set up for my 135mm Rokinon lens and my ASI 533. But let's say I wanted to put on C14 and I wanted to put on a Poseidon C. That would be the frame I could expect to get from my image. And so for something like this, it is quite helpful to get a ballpark idea of your framing. You can also, let's say you want to get mosaic. You can plan out all of this before you even go out to the dark sky site, before you even take a single picture. You can know what you're going to do it and how you're going to do it. Planning is everything to getting a final shot that you actually like. Next resource to know about is Deep Sky Corner. On this website, you're presented with many different images of nebulae, planetary nebulae, open clusters, galaxies, and so on. And why I like it compared to a lot of other sites is, let's say if I were to, I don't know, I'll say the Spaghetti Nebula. I can click on this, see what to expect photographically, information about it, scroll further down. I can get relevant location data that I think is really useful. So it's like, hey, what's within a close proximity of this deep sky target? Well, we got the Flaming Star, we got the Crab Nebula, we've got the entirety of the structure that is near the Flaming Star, which is the Sharpless 230. All of this information I think is really useful for trying to, like, let's say if I started with something simple like the Orion Nebula. Using this website, I found a target that I had no idea existed. I believe it's NGC 1999? Yeah, the Cosmic Keyhole. I would have never known this even existed if I didn't go on this website and just say, what's near the Orion Nebula? Clearly something pretty crazy looking. Next resource to be made aware of is planetarynebula.net. This is a really useful resource for finding out if you have a new object, potentially undiscovered perhaps, or if something is newly discovered, you can fact check it or image it based on the RN deck information you find here. So one of my favorite catalogs is the Strotner-Dressler catalog. For those who have been following my journey on the cosmic ghost hunt, as I call it, for SDSO, this is S&D from SDSO. So Strotner and Dressler. In these, you can see that they link their coordinates, RN deck, their size, and what if it's a planetary nebula, if it's a Herbig-Haro object, i.e. the leftovers of a new star, if it's a possible planetary nebula, or could be something new. You can click on it and be like, I want to know more. So let's look at Strotner-Dressler one. We can take an image on it. Pretty beautiful. And you can see how it would look in HA, how it would look in O3, and then as you saw, final and composite. A very useful website for, well, planetary nebulae, but in particular, rare or less seen objects. I think this is where this website is perfect and shines, really. Now, the next resource is a little bit older, and we got to use the Wayback Machine to get there, but it is worth it. The Unexplored Nebulae project by Steve Mandel and his MW catalog. It's very, very interesting. It just is RN deck and what it is. So not as much information, but these are newly discovered nebulae. This project was started in 2004, and with it, this was one of the first main captures was the integrated flux nebula around M81, M82, or Bode's and Cigar Galaxy. I'll link that image here that I took of it. I wouldn't have known about it if I didn't look at this old resource. 2004, so 21. It can drink. Okay, maybe it is a little old. So yeah, wonderful little catalog. Thought I'd share. Now, as our oddball pick, we have Stellarium, which is not a website, but it is a free application that most astronomers and up-and-comers are going to be having and interested in. So traditionally in Stellarium, you don't get too many features for seeing what's really out there. I mean, you could zoom in, you could set in your sky viewing options, you could increase your labels and all that, as I had done here. But the thing that I think really lets this application shine compared to the rest is when you go into the deep sky surveys. So I'm going to overlay the RGB continuum. So this should be true color, and it should be a sky survey in, well, true color. And if I remove these hints, we get a beautiful picture of the Milky Way, but we also can get context to things. So we can see relative intensity of brightness, relative abundance of elements. So we can see that in the region around Cygnus. Yeah, the Cygnus loop is pretty strong in oxygen. Even if the oxygen showing up this bright against the hydrogen and just the galactic dust, that's insane. So we know it's really strong. We know that if we go towards like Polaris, we can see, hey, there's all this IFN and structure around it. And it's helpful for seeing, hey, is there a background hydrogen? Little specks of red. It's helpful for getting an idea of your framing, just like as you would in Telescopius. But I would start with Telescopius and use this to refine. Because let's say, hey, I wanted to photograph the Gecko Nebula. That's on frame right now. I could check my preview with my camera sensor and settings, so 135mm lens and ASI 533. And I can do a similar thing as to what I was on Telescopius, but this I get the entire sky survey that was not present beforehand. And I don't have to just look in broadband data. I can refine this, go back. Let's say I want to look at it in exclusively hydrogen alpha. Where'd the Gecko go? It's a reflection nebula, so therefore it doesn't show up. It's not made out of hydrogen. You can see it's just it's like a ghost, really. But these surveys, I think, are incredibly useful if you're doing narrowband for getting an idea of the relative abundance of your element and where you should point your scope and for how long. And last but not least, we have, of course, Astrobin. Now, the reason I say this one for last is that in order to get some of the more useful features, it is a paid service. So let's say if I want to look at the image of the day, and I was like, that's a really stunning capture. What's around it? I could click on the RA index and I could find images that are within a certain search region as I define. Let's say I want to see everything plus or minus 2 degrees. There it is. And you can start there and bounce around and start to see what integration time you need, what type of filters. That's why I think Astrobin shines at compared to the rest. The rest I think are good at finding what target. This is good at how to image that target. So let's say we really liked the way this looked. What did they do to get to it? Seems like they use an L Ultimate and kept it actually pretty natural colors, respectable. But if that was our end goal, we know that L Ultimate or some CLS light pollution filter would help a lot getting the look that we wanted based on this image. These tools are just that. They're tools to help you and assist you to get you on the right path and put you in the right direction. I like planning everything beforehand. I think it helps with a more successful imaging session and getting the results I actually want versus just hoping I do. Hopefully these tips can help you guys get some better images and find some new cool deep sky targets. Until next time, thanks for watching. It's been Willie Stickley. Take care.